Commander Dae-ho Kim stared at the massive screen on the bridge of the Earth ship Horizon *. His dark eyes widened as he saw them for the first time. Huge snake-like shapes moving slowly through the blackness of space. Are those living creatures? He asked, his voice quiet with wonder. Science Officer Ji-soo Park nodded. Yes, sir. Our scans show they are alive. The biggest one is over 50 kilometers long. The bridge fell silent. Humans had met many aliens since they joined the Galactic Alliance 10 years ago, but nothing like this. The blue-skinned alien standing next to Commander Dae-ho made a hissing sound. This was Admiral Vexer, the Alliance representative on their mission. Pull back now, humans, Vexer ordered. His thin fingers tapped rapidly on his arm computer. These are the Devourers. They destroy everything they touch. On the screen, the giant space worms moved slowly. Their skin looked rough and gray, with patches that glowed softly. They didn't seem to be attacking anything. Admiral, they don't appear hostile, Dae-ho said carefully. Maybe we should try to learn more before. No, Vexer cut him off. The Alliance has known about these monsters for centuries. They have eaten entire planets. We must leave this area at once. Lieutenant Ji-soo looked up from her scanner. Sir, she said to Dae-ho, not to the alien admiral, I'm picking up strange radiation patterns from the creatures. Weapons charging, no doubt, Vexer said. The other Alliance ships around them were already turning away. Ji-soo shook her head. I don't think so. The patterns are regular, almost like they're trying to talk to us. Dae-ho walked closer to her station. Explain. Look here, Ji-soo pointed to her screen. These energy pulses, they repeat in groups of 3, then 5, then 7. Prime numbers. That's not random. That's a sign of intelligence. Ridiculous, Vexer snapped. These are mindless destroyers. Engineer Tadwan Lee spoke up from his station. Sir, if I adjust our sensors, we might be able to pick up more of these patterns. Dae-ho nodded. Do it. 10 minutes later, the bridge was filled with soft humming sounds, the translated energy patterns from the space worms. It's definitely communication, Ji-soo said excitedly. They're talking to each other and maybe trying to talk to us. Vexer had called his Alliance superiors. Now 3 more alien ships appeared near the Horizon *. A new voice came through the speakers. Human vessel Horizon *. This is High Commander Zrel. You are ordered to leave this sector immediately. Those creatures are not to be approached under any circumstances. Dae-ho frowned. Something didn't feel right. Why were the Alliance members so afraid? In the 3 years he'd worked with them, he'd never seen them this nervous. Request permission to send out a small research shuttle, Dae-ho said. We could learn more about these beings. Absolutely not. Zrel's voice boomed. If you approach the Devourers, the Alliance will withdraw all protection from Earth. The bridge crew looked at Dae-ho. This was serious. Earth needed the Alliance's protection and technology. Ji-soo stood up. Commander, these radiation patterns, they're getting stronger. I think they know we're here. They're trying harder to communicate. Dae-ho looked at the screen again. One of the smaller worms had changed direction. It was moving slowly toward the Horizon * now. It's coming to attack, Vexer said. No, Ji-soo said firmly. Its energy output hasn't changed. If it wanted to attack, wouldn't it power up weapons or something? Dae-ho made his decision. Prepare a research shuttle. Dr. Lee, you'll lead a small team to make contact. This is madness, Vexer hissed. You humans and your endless curiosity will get us all killed. But Dae-ho had seen enough wars to know what aggression looked like. These creatures, whatever they were, weren't showing any signs of it. Sometimes, he told Vexer, you have to take a chance to learn the truth. As the shuttle prepared to launch, the Alliance ships moved further away. The humans were on their own now. The giant space worm waited. Dr. Taiwan Lee checked his spacesuit one last time. His small team of 3 stood in the shuttle bay of the Horizon Asterisk. None of them had ever seen anything like the giant space worms before. "Are you sure about this, Doctor?" asked Yuri, the pilot. Taiwan nodded. "Commander Daeho believes they are trying to talk to us. I trust his judgment." The shuttle was small, just big enough for 4 people. As they prepared to leave, Commander Daeho entered the bay. "The Alliance ships have moved back even further," Daeho said. "They've made it clear that if anything goes wrong, we're on our own." "We understand the risk, sir," Taiwan replied. Daeho put a hand on Taiwan's shoulder. "Get close enough to gather data, but keep a safe distance. If there's any sign of danger, come back immediately." The shuttle launched smoothly from the Horizon Asterisk. Through the front window, Taiwan could see the space worm clearly now. It was amazing. The creature looked like a giant snake, but its skin had patches that glowed with soft blue and green light. It moved slowly, its huge body bending gently in the emptiness of space. "Incredible," Taiwan whispered. "It must have evolved to survive in the vacuum of space. Nothing in our records shows anything like this." Back on the Horizon Asterisk, Jisoo watched the shuttle on the main screen. Admiral Vexer stood beside her, his blue face tight with anger. "Your people are fools," he said. "The Devourers have destroyed entire worlds. Our records show they consume all life forms they encounter." Jisoo frowned. "Then why aren't they attacking us now? And these radiation patterns don't match any weapon system I've ever seen." The shuttle moved closer to the space worm. It was now just 1 kilometer away. "Getting stronger readings now," Taiwan reported over the radio. "The patterns are definitely organized. I think Jisoo is right. They're trying to communicate." Suddenly, the space worm changed. Parts of its skin began to glow more brightly. The patterns of light shifted, moving in waves along its massive body. On the Alliance ships, alarms sounded. "It's charging its attack," Vexer shouted. "Call your people back now." But Taiwan saw something different. The light patterns matched the radiation signals exactly, he said excitedly. "This is language, visual language." He instructed Yuri to move the shuttle in a pattern, back and forth. The worm stopped. Then, slowly, it matched their movement. "It's mimicking us," Taiwan said. "It's trying to establish communication." On the Horizon Asterisk, Daeho smiled. "Not the actions of a mindless destroyer, Admiral." Vexer hissed. "You humans are too trusting. Your species will not survive long in this galaxy with such reckless curiosity." The space worm slowly moved one end of its body toward the shuttle. The Alliance ships began charging weapons. "We will destroy it if it attacks," Vexer warned. But the worm simply extended a small part of itself, stopping 10 meters from the shuttle. The glowing patterns became more intense. Taiwan made a decision. He asked Yuri to turn on the shuttle's external lights and flash them in a pattern matching the worm's signals. The result was immediate. The worm's entire body lit up in patterns that moved from one end to the other. "I think it's excited," Taiwan said. "It knows we're trying to talk back." He began a simple sequence, lights flashing in groups of numbers. 1 flash, then 2, then 3. The worm responded with 4 flashes, then 5, then 6. "It understands math," Taiwan exclaimed. "This isn't just a creature. It's intelligent." Back on the Horizon Asterisk, Jisoo quickly built a basic translation program. She sent it to the shuttle. As Taiwan used the new program, the worm's responses became more complex. 2 hours later, they had learned something amazing. "Commander," Taiwan reported, his voice filled with awe. "They call themselves the Drifters, and they've been trying to contact other species for thousands of years." Daeho looked at Admiral Vexer. "It seems, Admiral, that your devourers have a very different story to tell. The meeting room on the Horizon was tense. Commander Daho sat at the head of the table with Dr. Tawan and Lieutenant Ji-Su on one side. Admiral Vexer and two other Alliance officials sat on the other side. These creatures you call drifters have destroyed 17 worlds in Alliance space, Vexer said firmly. That is a fact. Tawan shook his head. No, Admiral. That is your interpretation of what happened. For the past 12 hours, the human team had been communicating with the space worms. Ji-Su had improved her translation system, making it easier to understand the light patterns and energy pulses the drifters used to talk. Show them, Daho said. Ji-Su activated the room's display screen. It showed images from the drifters' perspective. The images were strange, mostly patterns of energy and light that humans couldn't normally see. The drifters are ancient, Ji-Su explained. They evolved around dying stars. They don't eat planets or people. They feed on a specific type of radiation from stars that are about to die. Lies, one of the Alliance officials muttered. When a star is dying, the drifters gather around it, Ji-Su continued. They absorb the harmful radiation that would otherwise destroy nearby planets. They're not causing destruction. They're containing it. Daho leaned forward. Admiral, has the Alliance ever actually tried to communicate with the drifters before attacking them? The aliens were silent. Han Sol-Yoon, the ship's communications specialist, entered the room. Han Sol had been working with Ji-Su on the translation system. I've made a breakthrough, Han Sol announced. I've created a visual communication system the drifters can understand easily. Han Sol went to the main screen and showed a series of light patterns. These patterns represent our alphabet. The drifters can now read our words through light. Vexer looked skeptical. Even if what you say is true, why should we trust these drifters? Because they've been running away from you for thousands of years, Han Sol said. According to their history, they've been peaceful travelers across many galaxies. But wherever they go, other species attack them because of their size and appearance. The largest of the drifters, which the humans had named Gentle Giant, had shared its memories with them. These memories went back further than any human or Alliance history. Gentle Giant is over 10,000 years old, Tawan said. Their species has been traveling through space for far longer than any of our civilizations have existed. Ji-Su pulled up more images. Look at this. When the drifters approach a dying star, they form a ring around it. Their bodies absorb the deadly radiation that would otherwise spread through the solar system. The screen showed a simulation of what would happen if the drifters didn't contain a star's death. Planets would be bathed in deadly radiation, wiping out all life. They're not destroyers, Daho said quietly. They're protectors. Vexer's face showed confusion for the first time. If this is true, why have they never communicated this to us before? They tried, Han Sol explained. But your ships always attacked first, and the drifters don't fight back. They just flee to the next galaxy. Ji-Su looked up from her screen with wide eyes. Commander, I'm receiving a new message from Gentle Giant. They want to know if they can share something important with us. What is it? Daho asked. They say they have knowledge that could help all species, Ji-Su replied. Something about creating stable paths through space. Even Vexer looked interested now. Wormhole technology. That's impossible. No species has mastered stable wormhole creation. Maybe that's because no species ever bothered to ask the drifters, Tawan said with a smile. Daho turned to Vexer. Admiral, I think it's time for the Alliance to reconsider its approach to the drifters. We humans have only known them for a day, and already we've learned they're peaceful and possess advanced knowledge. Vexer was silent for a long moment. Then he sighed. My superiors will need to be convinced with solid evidence. Then let's give them that evidence, Daho said. Together. Outside the ship, the drifters continued their gentle movements through space, their skin glowing with patterns of light that told stories thousands of years old, stories they were finally able to share. 3 days had passed since the humans first met the drifters. During this time, more Alliance ships had arrived. They formed a wide circle around the area, watching the humans and drifters carefully. Commander Daho stood on the bridge of the Horizon Asterisk, looking at the newest arrival. It was a massive Alliance ship, 5 times larger than the Horizon Asterisk. This was the Supreme Authority Asterisk, the flagship of the Alliance High Council. "They're sending a shuttle over," Lieutenant Jisoo reported. "High Commander Zrel is coming personally." Daho nodded. "This is serious." The entire High Council rarely gets involved in first contact situations. A message came through from Earth. Captain Jin Woo Choi from Earth's diplomatic corps would be arriving within hours. Earth was taking this seriously too. Taiwan entered the bridge, his face excited. "Commander, the drifters have shared more of their wormhole knowledge with us. It's amazing. They can create stable pathways through space that cut travel time by years." "This is why the High Council is coming," Daho said quietly. "They must have intercepted some of our communications about the wormhole technology." 2 hours later, High Commander Zrel arrived on the Horizon Asterisk. He was tall, with gray skin and 4 arms. His eyes were cold as he looked at the humans. "Commander Kim," Zrel said, "the Alliance High Council has made a decision. All human contact with these creatures must end immediately." Daho kept his face calm. "May I ask why?" "High Commander, we've shown that the drifters are peaceful. They have knowledge that could benefit everyone." "That is not your concern," Zrel replied. "The creatures you call drifters have been deemed dangerous by the Alliance. This decision is final." Jisoo stepped forward. "With respect, High Commander, that's not true. We've proven they're peaceful. They've shared their history with us." Zrel's eyes narrowed. "Lieutenant Park, the Alliance has existed for thousands of years. Humans have been part of it for only 10 years. You do not have the experience to make these judgments." At that moment, Captain Jin Woo Choi arrived. He was a skilled diplomat who had helped Earth join the Alliance years ago. "High Commander Zrel," Jin Woo said with a respectful bow, "perhaps we could discuss this further. The Drifters' wormhole technology could revolutionize space travel for all Alliance members." "So you admit they have this technology," Zrel said sharply. "Technology the Alliance has sought for centuries." The room went quiet. Now they understood. This wasn't about fear. It was about power. "This is the Alliance's final position," Zrel continued. "End all contact with these creatures, or Earth will be suspended from the Alliance. You have 6 hours to decide." After Zrel left, Jin Woo turned to Daho. "This is about more than the drifters, isn't it?" Daho nodded. "I think some in the Alliance fear what would happen if humans and drifters became allies. Together, we might become too powerful." "What about the wormhole technology?" Jin Woo asked. Dr. Lee and Jisoo exchanged looks. "There's something else you should know," Jisoo said. "We've been analyzing the data from the drifters. The reason the Alliance has never been able to create stable wormholes is that they're missing a key element." "What element?" Jin Woo asked. "Trust," Taiwan said simply. "The wormhole technology requires species to work together. It can't be controlled by just one group. The drifters designed it that way on purpose." Jin Woo smiled slowly. "So the Alliance can't use this technology unless they cooperate with the drifters." "And us." "Exactly," Daho said. "So what do we do about this ultimatum?" Jin Woo looked out the window at the giant space worms floating peacefully nearby. "I think it's time to show the Alliance that humans don't respond well to threats, and we certainly don't abandon new friends because someone told us to." "That could mean trouble for Earth," Daho warned. "Yes," Jin Woo agreed. "But sometimes you have to stand up for what's right, even when it's difficult. That's what humans do best." Captain Jin Woo Choi sat alone in the meeting room, thinking carefully. The 6-hour deadline from High Commander Zrel would end soon. Jinwoo had spent his whole career building good relationships between humans and the Alliance. Now everything might fall apart. The door opened and engineer Subin Kang entered, carrying a small device. "Captain, I think we have something that might help," Subin said. She placed the device on the table. It was shaped like a flat disc with lights around the edge. "What is this?" Jinwoo asked. "A better translator," Subin explained. "Lieutenant Ji-Soo and I have been working on it nonstop. It can convert the drifters' light patterns into words and images that both humans and Alliance species can understand." Jinwoo picked up the device. "How does this help us with the ultimatum?" Subin smiled. "I think the real problem is fear and misunderstanding. The Alliance has feared the drifters for so long they can't imagine working with them. But what if we could show them who the drifters really are?" A plan began to form in Jinwoo's mind. An hour later, Jinwoo stood before High Commander Zrel on the Alliance flagship. Daho and Subin stood beside him. "Your time is up, Captain Choi," Zrel said coldly. "What is Earth's decision?" Jinwoo stepped forward. "We have a third option to propose. Humans will serve as a bridge between the Alliance and the drifters." Zrel's 4 arms crossed in front of his chest. "Explain." "Instead of cutting off contact, we suggest a carefully managed relationship," Jinwoo said. "Humans will be the go-between, ensuring both sides understand each other clearly." Jinwoo nodded to Subin, who activated her translation device. The room filled with soft, beautiful patterns of light and sound. "This is drifter music," Subin explained. "Their culture is built on mathematical patterns and energy harmonies." Even Zrel seemed interested as the patterns shifted and danced. "We've discovered that the drifters have a rich history and culture," Daho added. "They've been peaceful explorers for thousands of years, but they've been running from species who misunderstood them." Jinwoo continued, "The wormhole technology the drifters possess isn't a weapon. It's a tool for cooperation. It literally cannot function without multiple species working together in harmony." "That's hard to believe," Zrel said, but his voice had lost some of its harshness. "Let us prove it," Jinwoo offered. "Allow a small test. 1 Alliance ship, 1 human ship, and 1 drifter working together to create a tiny wormhole. If it works, it could change space travel forever. If it fails, Earth will accept your original decision." The other Alliance leaders whispered among themselves. Finally, Zrel spoke. "The Council will allow this test, but with strict safety measures. If there is any sign of danger, we will destroy the drifter immediately." After Zrel left to make arrangements, Daho turned to Jinwoo. "Do you think this will work?" "It has to," Jinwoo replied. "It's our only chance to build trust." Back on the Horizon Ji-Soo and Hansol were communicating with the drifters. The largest one, Gentle Giant, glowed with complex patterns. "They're nervous," Ji-Soo translated. "They've never worked with the Alliance before. They fear a trap." "Tell them we'll be there with them," Daho said. "Humans won't let anything happen to them." Hansol sent the message using light patterns. After a moment, Gentle Giant's body glowed with a soft blue color. "That means trust," Hansol explained. "They trust us." Subin finished preparing the equipment for the test. "If this works, it will be the first stable wormhole created in Alliance space. It will only be small, about the size of a shuttle, but it will prove what's possible when we work together." As the humans made final preparations, Alliance scientists watched with a mixture of doubt and curiosity. No one had ever attempted to work with the drifters before. "It's interesting," Jinwoo said to Daho quietly. "For all their advanced technology, the Alliance never thought to simply talk to the drifters. Sometimes the most human approach is the simplest one, reaching out with an open hand instead of a closed fist." The test was set for the next day. Everything now depended on whether humans could truly bridge the gap between 2 very different kinds of life in the universe. The day of the wormhole test arrived. A special meeting area had been set up on a large Alliance ship. Representatives from 12 Alliance species would attend, along with the human team and a drifter named Harmony of Stars, one of the smaller space worms at only 5 kilometers long. Security Officer Minho Park walked through the meeting room one last time. Something didn't feel right to him. Some Alliance members had been too quick to accept the test. After centuries of fear and hatred toward the drifters, why change now? Find anything strange? Daho asked, entering the room. Minho shook his head. Not yet, sir. But I don't trust this situation. Stay alert, Daho said. The drifter will arrive in 1 hour, and the Alliance leaders shortly after. The human team worked quickly to set up the equipment for the test. Su Bin checked the special energy collectors that would channel the drifter's natural abilities. If this works, she explained to Jinwoo, we'll create a small but stable wormhole. It will only stay open for about 10 seconds, but that's enough to prove it's possible. Outside the ship, Harmony of Stars floated closer. Its skin glowed with patterns of blue and green light. Jisoo watched the patterns on her translator. It's nervous, she said. This is the first time a drifter has willingly entered an Alliance ship. Minho continued his security checks. He looked carefully under each seat and table. In a corner near the main power line, he noticed something odd. A small device that didn't match the Alliance technology around it. Minho's heart beat faster. The device had a timer counting down. 30 minutes left. Commander, Minho called into his radio. I found an explosive device in the meeting room. Daho's voice came back immediately. Can you disarm it? I think so, Minho replied. But we need to delay the meeting. Impossible. Jinwoo cut in. If we delay now, the Alliance will see it as humans backing out. They'll never trust us again. Minho studied the device. I need 20 minutes. If I can remove the power source without triggering the alarm system. Do it, Daho ordered. We'll continue as planned, but be ready to evacuate if needed. Minho worked quickly and carefully. The bomb was complex, designed to destroy the entire meeting room. Someone really didn't want this peace meeting to happen. With 10 minutes left before the meeting, Minho had nearly disarmed the device. Just as he disconnected the final wire, he heard a soft click. A secondary trigger. Everyone out now. Minho shouted, but he knew there wasn't time to evacuate. The device would explode in seconds. Minho covered the bomb with his body, trying to contain the blast. He closed his eyes, ready for the pain. But the explosion never came. Minho opened his eyes and saw a strange glow around him. The bomb had detonated, but the explosion was frozen in a bubble of energy. Outside the ship, Harmony of Stars had pressed part of its body against the hull. It was projecting an energy field through the ship's wall, containing the explosion. The effort was hurting the drifter. Parts of its skin turned dark as it used its life energy to hold the explosion. The drifter is saving him, Jisoo cried. Alliance security teams rushed in, staring in shock at the frozen explosion, and the space worm partially phased through their ship's hull. Harmony of Stars held the energy field for 3 more minutes until Alliance experts could safely remove the remains of the bomb. Then it withdrew, clearly weakened by the effort. Minho was taken to the medical bay. He had injuries from the partial explosion, but he would live, thanks to the drifter. High Commander Zrel himself came to the medical bay. He looked at Minho, then at the humans gathered around him. One of our own people planted that bomb, Zrel admitted. Extremists who don't want change. He turned to look out the window at Harmony of Stars, who floated nearby. Its glow dimmer than before. This creature, this drifter, saved a human life. At risk to its own. Zrel's voice was softer now. In all our records, we have no account of a drifter ever doing such a thing. Because you never gave them a chance, Jinwoo said quietly. Zrel was silent for a long moment. Perhaps, he finally said, it is time we did. 2 weeks after the bombing incident, A new mood filled the space around the asterisk horizon asterisk. The Alliance ships no longer kept their distance from the drifters. Several science vessels had moved closer, their teams eager to learn more about these space creatures. On the main deck of the asterisk horizon asterisk, Daho watched as Alliance scientists worked alongside his human crew. The bomb had almost ruined everything, but Harmony of Stars' brave act had changed minds more effectively than any words could have. "Commander," Jisoo called from her station. The first test was successful. Everyone turned to the large screen. It showed a small, stable wormhole floating in space. It was only 2 meters wide, but it was working perfectly. A probe sent through one side came out exactly where it should on the other side, 10,000 kilometers away. "Remarkable," said an Alliance scientist named Teller. "We've tried to create stable wormholes for centuries, but they always collapsed within seconds." Subin smiled proudly. "The difference is the drifters. Their bodies naturally produce the energy field needed to keep the wormhole stable." Yoonji Kim, another engineer on the asterisk horizon asterisk, had been working day and night on a new project. She approached Daho with excitement in her eyes. "Commander, I finished the new engine design," Yoonji said. "Using the principles we learned from the drifters, I think we can create a ship engine that uses 80% less fuel than our current best models. That would solve Earth's resource problems," Daho said, truly impressed. "Yoonji, this is amazing work." The knowledge exchange wasn't one-sided. The drifters were learning from humans too. Harmony of Stars and the other drifters had become fascinated by human art, music, and stories. They'd never experienced art before, Han Sol explained to some Alliance visitors. They communicate through energy and light patterns, but they never thought to use those patterns just for beauty or to tell stories. Through special projectors, the humans shared music, paintings, and videos with the drifters. The space worms would pulse with bright colors when they especially liked something. "They love back," Jisoo said with a laugh. "The mathematical patterns in his music make perfect sense to them." Even more surprising was how quickly the drifters learned. They began creating their own music by making complex light patterns that could be translated into sounds. The results were strange but beautiful, unlike anything humans or Alliance species had heard before. Captain Jinwoo had been busy with diplomatic work. Today, he had good news to share. "The Alliance High Council has voted," Jinwoo announced to the crew. "They have officially recognized the drifters as a sentient, peaceful species. All previous orders to attack them have been canceled." Cheers filled the bridge. Months of hard work had finally paid off. Outside the ship, the largest drifter, Gentle Giant, performed a slow, graceful roll, their way of showing happiness. Later that day, Alliance Admiral Vexer, who had once been so afraid of the drifters, approached Daho. "I must admit, Commander Kim, that I was wrong," Vexer said. "In 3,000 years of Alliance history, we never once tried to understand these creatures. We just feared what was different." Daho nodded. "Fear is easy, Admiral. Understanding takes more work, but the rewards are much greater." Vexer looked out at the drifters floating peacefully nearby. "My scientists tell me that the wormhole technology could reduce travel time between worlds from years to minutes, and the energy solutions could end resource wars across the galaxy. All because someone took the time to say hello," Daho said with a smile. Yunjai approached them with a tablet. "The drifters want to share something else with us," she said, her voice suddenly serious. "Something important about why they've been traveling through galaxies for so long." Daho and Vexer exchanged looks. "What is it?" Daho asked. "They're running from something," Yunji said. "Something they call the Void. And according to their calculations, it's heading toward our part of space." The meeting room was packed. Every important person from the asterisk horizon asterisk, 10 Alliance ships, and Earth's government was there. Even the Alliance High Council joined through special screens. All eyes were on the large display at the front of the room. On the screen, Strange patterns of light pulsed and shifted. This was how the drifters showed information. Jisoo's translation program turned these patterns into images everyone could understand. The void, Jisoo explained, pointing to a dark area on the screen. According to the drifters, it's not a black hole or any space object we know. It's more like a tear in space itself. The image zoomed out to show the path of the void over thousands of years. It moved slowly but steadily through galaxies, leaving nothing behind. The drifters discovered the void 50,000 years ago. Taiwan continued. They've been running from it ever since. Wherever the void passes, all matter and energy simply disappear. High Commander Zrel leaned forward. This is hard to believe. Our scientists have never detected such a thing. Because it's still far away, Jisoo said. But the drifters can sense it. Their bodies are sensitive to space-time disturbances. Daeho stood up. The important question is, when will it reach our part of space? Jisoo looked at the humans and aliens around the table. According to the drifters' calculations, 50 years. The room erupted in shocked voices. 50 years was nothing in cosmic time. Many people in the room would still be alive. Are they certain? Jinwoo asked. Yes, Jisoo replied. They've tracked its movement for millennia. Their math is very precise. The alliance leaders began arguing among themselves. Some wanted to send ships to investigate. Others suggested moving their populations to distant galaxies. One alliance official, a tall insect-like being, clicked its mandibles loudly. We should use the drifters as a shield. Their bodies could slow the void while we escape. Daeho slammed his hand on the table. No, the drifters are now our allies. We don't sacrifice allies. Outside the ship, the drifters waited. They had shared their greatest fear with the humans and the alliance. Now they watched to see how these other species would respond. After hours of heated debate, 3 main plans emerged. First, send unmanned probes to study the void up close. Second, begin moving populations from the outer systems that would be hit first. Third, the most controversial, try to find a way to stop or divert the void. It's impossible to stop it, an alliance scientist argued. If the drifters couldn't do it in 50,000 years, how can we? Because now the drifters aren't alone, Commander Daeho said firmly. They have us. And we have something they don't. What's that? Zrel asked. A different way of thinking, Jinwoo explained. Humans have always faced problems differently than other species. Where the alliance sees danger, we often see opportunity. Taiwan nodded. The drifters have extensive knowledge about the void, but they never tried to fight it, only escape it. Humans rarely just run from a threat. We stand and fight. Yunja stepped forward with a datapad. I've been working with harmony of stars on some calculations. The void absorbs energy, right? But what if we gave it too much energy? What do you mean? Vexer asked. Stars explode with massive energy, Yunji explained. If we could use the drifters' wormhole technology to direct that energy precisely when the void approaches, we might be able to disrupt it or even collapse it back on itself. The room went quiet as everyone considered this idea. It would take enormous resources, Jinwoo said slowly, and perfect coordination between all our species. And we'd have only one chance to get it right, Daeho added. High Commander Zrel stood up. This plan would require the largest cooperative effort in the history of the galaxy. Yes, Daeho agreed, but that's exactly what makes it possible. The drifters have knowledge. The alliance has resources. And humans, he smiled, we have determination and creativity. Outside, the drifters began to glow brighter, as if they sensed a new hope. 6 months had passed since the revelation about the void. Today, Earth's moon base hosted the largest gathering of species in galactic history. Representatives from all 27 alliance worlds, 14 human colonies, and over 50 drifter clusters filled the Grand Hall. Commander Daeho Kim stood near the back, watching the crowd. He still couldn't believe how much had changed in such a short time. Just a year ago, the Alliance and Drifters were enemies. Now they worked side by side. Nervous? Jisoo asked, standing beside him. A little, Daho admitted. This is the biggest moment in human history. At the center of the hall, a large platform held a holographic display. Dr. Ju-Won Ri, Earth's leading physicist, made final adjustments to her presentation. High Commander Zrel called for silence. We are gathered here to witness the unveiling of Project Harmony, humanity's response to the Void threat. Ju-Won stepped forward. Though she was small in size, her voice was strong and confident. For the past 6 months, human scientists have worked with Drifter knowledge keepers and Alliance engineers. Today, we present our plan to save not just our worlds, but all worlds in the Void's path. The hologram activated, showing a massive structure that looked like a web of energy connecting hundreds of stars. We call it the Collapse Array, Ju-Won explained. It uses the Drifter's wormhole technology to connect dying stars across a vast area of space. When the Void approaches, these stars will release their energy in a perfectly timed sequence. The hologram showed the Void, a dark tear in space, approaching the array. As it did, the stars began to explode one after another, creating a wave of energy that surrounded the Void. The energy doesn't feed the Void, Ju-Won continued. Instead, it creates a special kind of pressure on space-time itself. Our calculations show this will cause the Void to collapse inward, essentially destroying itself. An Alliance scientist raised a hand. The amount of energy needed is enormous. How many stars would be required? Over 2,000, Ju-Won answered honestly, and the project would take at least 200 years to complete. Murmurs spread through the crowd. 200 years was longer than most species lived. Many of us won't live to see this completed, Ju-Won acknowledged. This is a project for our children and grandchildren, but we must start now. Jin-Woo stepped forward. We're not asking for a decision today. Each world will need time to consider their participation. The resources required will be significant. The oldest and largest drifter, Gentle Giant, moved forward. Its body glowed with patterns that Jisoo translated for everyone. The drifters pledged their entire population to this effort, Jisoo announced. They say they have run for 50,000 years. Now, with new friends, they choose to stand and fight. The hall filled with surprised whispers. Even with their advanced knowledge, no one had expected the drifters to commit so completely. One by one, Alliance representatives began to pledge support. First, the worlds closest to the Void's path, then others, until nearly all had joined. Later, at a small gathering for the project leaders, High Commander Zrel approached Daho. When humans first joined the Alliance, Zrel said, "Many of us wondered what your young species could contribute. You had less advanced technology and little experience with other civilizations." Daho waited, curious where this was going. "Now I understand," Zrel continued. "Your greatest contribution wasn't technology or resources. It was your approach to the unknown." "What do you mean?" Daho asked. "When you found the drifters, you didn't see monsters to fear or resources to exploit. You saw potential friends," Zrel explained. "Without that human perspective, we would still be enemies with the drifters. We would face the Void divided and doomed." Outside the window, Earth shone blue and beautiful. Around it, ships from dozens of worlds prepared to depart, carrying the first plans and resources for Project Harmony. For thousands of years, the Alliance approached new species with suspicion, Jin-Woo said, joining them. And the drifters fled from contact. But humans reached out with open hands. Daho finished with a smile. "It's just what we do."